I represent the Yay area.
James. A name connected to Compton. A man who witnessed the rise of death row from the inside. A man whose traveled from streets to stages around the world. Now this platform is rooted in faith, but here we believe real conversations require real honesty. So when guests come here, they come as they are, which means this conversation is uncut, unfiltered, and unapologetically Mob James. Because today's conversation isn't just about hip hop, it's about environment, choices, and what it takes for a man to evolve beyond both. And this, my friends, is where classic flow meets the dilemma of a good one. Real people, real dilemmas, real conversations, real solutions. So today's conversation is about the environment and what it takes for a man to evolve beyond it. And we have Mob James of, I believe, of Compton, California, Southern California to be exact. Well-known, well-respected, has been around the world and back, and definitely has a story to tell. So it's actually a privilege and it's a pleasure. And I believe it's going to be a blessing to have you on the platform. So I want to welcome you in, man.
Appreciate it. Glad to be here.
That's right. So let's start at the beginning. There's some environments they raise you, some environments they test you. But let's talk about what that looked like in your life. And first of all, let's do this. Let's give a shout out to B-Boy. I call him BC, from the Bay to LA and to Detroit. And he corrected me. He said it's actually from the Bay to Compton. But a lifelong friend of mine, man, and it's somebody you met. You want to share how y'all cross paths with one another?
Well, he's from my neighborhood, and when he left Compton, I was out of contact with him for a while, and then I started the Gangster Chronicles, and we linked back up. He always been a good dude, a youngster that acted like a grown man back then. He before his time, and you can tell that he a good cat because everybody fucks with him. I'm talking about on both sides. Everybody deal with him. So that tells you, what type of cat he is. Good people.
Most definitely mature beyond his years. And some of the people that I saw him hang out with, I was like, man, what's y'all connection? And he explained it, and it just made perfect sense. Basically, the same way that you just said it. So, again, shout out to B-Boy, also known as BC. If you know, you know. So let's start off like this, man. What's the difference between LA and Compton? Because he mentioned that as a difference. So why don't you walk us through that and tell us what was it like growing up there?
Well, I had the privilege of living in LA and in Compton.
Okay.
I was kicked out of school at an early age, the third grade to be exact, in Compton. So I had to go to my grandfather's house in LA. And, the guys in LA, everybody is pretty much the same. You're going to run into the same cats. Compton, LA, Watts, wherever you go. But some dudes are just on different levels. And some cats you can fuck with, some cats you can deal with, some you can't. It's really no difference between none of the sets. Everything you have in one hood, you have in the other. Same thing is going on. So I really can't say there's a difference, because you had the gang members, you had the gang bangers, you had the ones that were living in the hood, which we call guilty by association. And you just had the regular cats that wanted to go to school and whatever. So everybody was on a different, what I call different pay grade. Me, myself, I was a gang banger, out there living it, looking for it, accepted what came to me the whole nine. Like the majority of those were in these different neighborhoods. So it all depends on that guy you ran into. So the hoods ain't no different. It's all the same shit.
Yeah, yeah. And when you say you accepted it, that's more like a accountability type of a deal, right? Like you took
Yeah.
accountability for what you did. Um, where do you think that stemmed from? Like, did you have a role model in your life? Like you mentioned your grandfather. Um, but let's start at home first. Did you have like your father in your home with you, or what would you say that came from?
I had a father. My father didn't teach me nothing but how to be violent. By the abuse I got from him. I hate talking about it. Um, I didn't. I had a father in the home, but I didn't have a father in the home. Um, he didn't do nothing but kick my ass. So it made me aggressive. It made me angry. I had a point to prove. I wanted to prove the point. I wouldn't allow another individual to treat me the way my father treated me. Kim, give me the light. So all of my shit came from what I learned in the house, what I received in the house. And, it was 5 kids, but I got the worst end of every situation. So I was angry. I was I was ready to hurt people and did that at a young age. I'm getting kicked out of school in the 3rd grade, taking butcher knives to stab motherfuckers.
Wow.
I was in the 3rd grade when it happened. I wasn't finna let y'all beat me up. I wasn't finna accept that. So going to LA, I would get kicked out of school every Wednesday. I don't know why, but it was always a fight. And the guys over there were all Crips, but in the 3rd grade, we wasn't living like that. We were we grew up. And once we got into junior high, everybody started to identify. They started looking at themselves as this, that, or the other. Me, I'm back in Compton, so being around my people, meaning Paulus, and then going back to 81st and Hooper with the kitchen Crips, you can't tell me you're going to be one or the other. No, I am who I am. I'm from where I'm from. We grew up together, but when those guys broke that tie, I attacked. Me and my brothers, the homies, we attacked those cats. And back and forth for a long time. So, but pretty much my father. My father would come from the motorcycle set and wake me up and whoop my ass. He didn't care if he had a stick, a bat. He'd bust my head wide open a couple, were in 2 different spots. Busted nose. So every time he did me, it was just like, I'm gonna get you. And that's how I felt. And it wasn't until I shot my little brother, I think I was 13, 14, when I shot my little brother, he moved. He got the fuck out of there. He was like, these who got guns in my house? I left and went to the homeboy house and spent the night over there. That morning, he moved out. He moved out. I truly believe that it would have came a day, if he'd have stayed there, he'd have paid for what he did. You feel me?
Man, that's a lot to unpack there. That's a lot. So, stop me while I go off track. At a young age, you dealt with an abusive father, and then you going out to school and everything. So, probably because this person is much bigger than you, you felt like you couldn't do nothing to him, but you lashed out on people, your peers and stuff like that, right? You know what I mean? Maybe it was respect for adults, that kind of thing. So, anybody that's your age group are around you, they can get it though. You know what I mean? Was that some of that anger that you had towards your dad that you took out on others, or would you say that that's where it came from?
Well, a lot of the things that he did to me, I ain't gonna say I got used to the pain, and I had to inflict pain on others as I received it. If I didn't think that I was getting my money's worth, I would do something outrageous and I tried my best to hurt. I used to carry a half a bed. I used to carry knives. I don't care what I had or how I did it. I had to hurt you bad. And some of my homeboys would look at me like, what the fuck wrong with you? You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. It was just here in the head that I had to hurt people. And it didn't matter. It didn't matter. Then when I started drinking, my violence went up, like to the top. I would get drunk and anybody random, I didn't care who it was. I just had to be violent.
Wow. So you also said that, I think what you just gave us as well was the definition of being born in it and not sworn in it. You know what I mean? Because me being from the Bay Area, we didn't have Crips and blood gangs, but you know, I don't know if it's much different in the Bay as far as the neighborhoods are basically a clique or a set. You know what I mean? And it's named after the neighborhood. And a lot of those people are born in it. But what we heard out of LA is that there's a lot of people who are jumped in and that kind of thing. That wasn't your path though. You was born in it, and once you became of age, that's who you was, right? I believe you mentioned Pyru. Am I right?
Right.
Yeah.
When I really started hanging with the homies and getting involved in that, I wish a motherfucker would try to jump me in, tell me I need to be jumped in. I'd have did something to everybody. We didn't have that hood day shit. We didn't have that 5 niggas jumping on one. No, we didn't have that. I ain't never saw that. Never. And, you know, sometimes I took my aggression out on some of the homies. You know, those that I called gang members. I took my frustration out on those that was just in the hood, you know, playing and acting like they was gang bangers, gang members. Mm-hmm. And it ain't happening. And, you know, I believe everybody had a price to pay when it came to gang banging and living that life. And some guys can sit in the hood and sell their drugs all day. And if somebody come through the neighborhood and shooting and they get one of them get shot, I had a reason. Go ahead.
I was listening to you. You had a reason to.
Yeah, and if something happened to those that are just guilty by association, we had a responsibility to go right back and handle business. But then I was mad at them because they hanging out getting shot. And I'm putting my life on the line for a motherfucker that really didn't represent that power rule. So, you know, some of them I robbed, took, you know, for their drugs or whatever. But I had nothing but anger in my life. And I showed it. I showed it. I didn't care.
Yeah. Well, here's the part that kind of gripped me is because you were raised differently from me. You know, you had your mother and your father present. I didn't have my dad live with me. I had access to him. I could call him and I'd probably go stay with him like 3 or 4 times a year for like a weekend or whatnot. You know, he was always cool. Him and my mother was always cool, but he was never there with me. And then I was the only child as well. You know what I'm saying? So the thought was, as an only child, was that life would be or could be better if I had brothers and or sisters, and especially if my dad was around. My grandfather was the father figure in my life when I was around him. You know what I mean? So I could definitely relate to that. But here's one thing, the elephant in the room. You spoke about one of your first violent moments in your life with your brother. Without glorifying him, man, what did that teach you about the consequences? And maybe you could tell a little bit about the story of how that happened, how you came to the point where you shot your little brother.
I was out. I had me and my homeboys. I had like 4-5 guns at the time, and I'm only 14, 13 or 14, 13, 13, 12.
You're young.
Yeah, I'm trying to go down the ladder. Yeah. My little brother was 9, 10 years old. So if he was 10, I was 14. 10, I was 13. So I'm out in the street. We walking to different little places in the stores, and looking for gang members and shit, looking for other people to fuck with, and come back. And when I went to put the pistols up, 2 of them were missing. And I go outside looking for Timmy for those 2 pistols.
Your little brother, Timmy. Okay.
Yeah. And him and his little partner playing across the street on some cops and robbers bullshit. Yeah. I took 1 pistol from the little dude Durkee, and then I took the pistol from Timmy. And then I said, what if it was a bullet and I'm squeezing the trigger in his face? Pop! And I shot him. And the bullet went in his nose, in his mouth, and he spit the bullet out with his back tooth. It was stuck in his back teeth, and he spit the bullet out. I freaked out because I thought I just killed my little brother, my baby brother. So I take the gun, I'm beating the gun with a brick. My mom's and I'm gonna say pops, they come out and they take Timmy to the house, call the ambulance, the whole thing. I bounced.
Yeah.
My brother Alton tell me he want me to come to the house. So I grabbed my pistol. If he'd have tried to do something to me, I don't know what would have happened. But I wouldn't get no more ass whoopings. I wouldn't get beat up no more. So that morning he was gone. He left. Tried to sell the house, tried to do all that.
Talk about your dad.
Yeah. It was a good thing for me, man, because I was in a cross from, if I kill my pops, my sister, my mother, and my brother's gonna hate me.
All of that.
You know what I'm saying? So the thought of doing that to him, I knew I couldn't. What happens if I go to jail type shit? And I didn't do it. And he moved on, he did his thing, He came back many years later, wanted to apologize. Okay, we good. You know what I'm saying? He drove back to Texas and he passed away.
Oh, okay. What year was this? What year was this? Your dad passed away?
He passed away right before my brother, 98. Okay. No, 99. He passed away in 99.
Okay. So your brother Timmy? Your brother Timmy lived, right?
Timmy's still alive. My brother Montreal passed away in 2002.
Okay, yeah, I heard of Bunty. I'm sure we're gonna talk about him in just a moment. But this is what I want to ask you. Okay, so your little brother lived through that, and your father, obviously, he know. Okay, I ain't playing with no little kids no more. This one ain't no joke. So your dad left home though. Let me ask you this though: between that day when you shot your brother up until the day that your dad passed away, with your brother and with your dad, was there ever a lesson in forgiveness along the way?
With my little brother, yes.
Okay.
With Pops, nothing he could have said that would have made me feel like, Pops, we good, I love you. Or me uttering those words to him. He did me. No parent should treat their kids the way my parents treated me, right? My mother, I forgave my mother. And it wasn't until I went to prison I had enough time to think about forgiving her. Where was she when he was beating me with high heel shoes, was beating me with razor belts, stitching cords, whatever was in his path, in his way, or was right in front of him, he used it. Some couple times she sat on the edge of the bed and watched it. You know, where was my mama? So after that, my mama became every bitch, every hoe, fuck you, bitch, you ain't got, fuck you. I was very disrespectful to my mom. Now I'm just in the street. Fuck you, bitch, you can't tell me nothing. Do whatever you're gonna do. She did it her way. My mother put up her house for both of my brothers, bailed them out the whole nine. Every time I went to jail, I had to go and I had to stay in that motherfucker. And that made me like, okay, cool. But when I went to prison, I get it. I'm listening to these old cats talk about that's all you do. And I gave her props. I just, it took time, but whenever she called me, I was there. You know, I felt I owed her for being so disrespectful to her, treating her like I treated females in the street. And I paid for it. I paid for it. I learned how to love her. I took care of her.
Well, I was going to say that's good for you, and that's certainly good for her. Is she still living?
No, she just passed away in 2018. Cancer. The last 2 years of her life, I left my wife. I went back to Compton and I took care of my mom for 2 years.
Shout out to you for that. That's certainly not an easy thing, man. I did the same thing with my mom. But here's why I'm gonna say that's good for you. It's good for her. I had a homeboy that stayed across the street from my grandparents' house, and this was in '89, man. And it seemed like every day, you know, the spot was around the corner where they hustled at. I was a little young. I'd be on the porch, so to say, or in the yard. And seemed like he would always leave the house cussing out his mama, like all the time. And my grandmama would sit in the house talking about he needs to stop that, and you know, he wrong for this and that and everything else. Like every time he was heading toward the block, he was cussing her out. And one of the neighborhood boys, man, laid them cats down over there around there. You know what I'm saying? And in the midst of that, he was one of them talkers. And story has it, I wasn't there, nothing like that. You know, the story has it that, you know, they told me, hey, don't look back. And he kept talking and he looked back and they gave him one, bam, to the head. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think he ever had a chance to reconcile with his mom. You understand what I'm saying? So for you to be able to do so, I'm sure that gives you a little bit of peace, that gives you some closure. You understand what I'm saying? To know you were able to be there for 2 years. And again, that's not easy to do that, to take care of a parent. Did you have any other siblings around? So I think you had 5 altogether, right? It was 5 of y'all all together. Any other siblings help out with mom?
And
any of your siblings help out with mom, or was it mostly you that was helping?
Yeah. Both of my sisters were there. My baby brother, he lived on the premises with her too, in the back, but wasn't much of any help. You know, it was solely me. You know, I got my 1-year-old grandson at the time, raising him, and then I had one of Timmy's sons living there too, that he had custody of. So I was feeding everybody. I was cooking for us in the house. Yeah. Making sure I had my nephews. If I went in Las Vegas, they would come and take her to her doctor's appointment. Man, I got videos of my grandson, 1.5 years old, pushing grandma in the wheelchair for her radiation and shit, do all this shit for her cancer. He was a big help. But mainly me and my older sister.
Helping out. Man, I think right there, it sounds to me like you set out to be, or by default, just became a better father figure for you said your grandson. I don't know if you have sons of your own, but you also said for your nephews. Am I right about that?
Yeah, I have 2 sons. I didn't play those games with my sons. My sons don't wear earrings, none of that shit. They don't sag their pants. They both went to college. My oldest son, he's taking care of his daughter. She's 17 years old now. He's been taking care of her for 17 years from day one.
Right.
My brother Timmy got 19, 20 kids.
What?
I have a daughter.
Functional.
Yeah, I have a daughter that I raised. I had to take her for 7 years because her mother went to prison, and I took her for 7.5 years. I made a mistake of letting her go back to her mother, and all hell broke loose. My daughter got caught up with the gang shit, and she wound up doing 3.5 years in prison. So this is how I come to get my grandson.
Okay.
They was trying to put him in foster care.
Yeah,
and
the system.
Like, it ain't like, no, we ain't doing that. And they ran this thing on me, told me I couldn't get him. My little sister got him, and he was with her maybe 2 months. So I got with the people and told them my situation, where I'm at with it in the whole nine. And the dude at the place, he worked with me, and I've had my grandson ever since. He about to be 10 this year. So,
whoa, wow. Yeah, we connected.
Yeah, I truly believe I broke that chain.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because as my sons growing up, I missed a lot. Thank God for their mothers. They got good mothers. And it taught me a lot, not really being there. So when I got my grandson, everything that I missed, I'm getting it out of him.
Yeah, right.
And he's making me grow up. He's making me calm. He taught me patience. He taught me how to, man, words don't mean that. And when I say he taught me that, because there was days when I wanted to give up and just go on just smash, just to prove who I am. Nigga, don't play with me type shit. Yeah, and I look at him, I turn around, sit down, and I'm good. So my grandson taught me how to control myself. And that's a big factor of where I'm at today. It's one of the main reasons why I'm here today.
Right. Give you something to lock in on and focus on and understand that it ain't just about you no more. You got this little guy that you got to look out for, be there for, and direct him and steer him in the right direction. So, man, I feel it. I'm going to rewind it back, but fast forward at the same time. And let's move up towards let's talk about like the culture and the crack era, because honestly, you're a little older than me. If you don't mind, you can share your age, but you experienced that. But yeah, go ahead. How old are you now?
I'm 61 in April.
60, praise God. Yeah, see? Yeah, so you got me about 9 years. I'll be 53 in July. So, yeah, I was safe to assume that you experienced the crack era firsthand.
Thanks for watching part 1 of Mob James from Compton to Death Row, the beginning. Stay tuned for part 2 coming real soon.
I represent the Yay area.